Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another MTG Arena video. In today's video, I am going to be talking about an awesome infinite combo within Historic that allows you to create infinite 1/1 flyers and technically gives you infinite energy counters. So the three cards you're going to need, or at least the three cards I'm using, are Decoction Module, Panharmonicon, and Whirler Virtuoso. So here's how the combo works. Essentially, you need to have Whirler Virtuoso and either three Decoction modules, Decoction modules, or one Decoction module and two Panharmonicons, or two Decoction modules and a Panharmonicon. Essentially, you need three of any combination of Decoction modules and Panharmonicons as long as you have one of the module. And then with Whirler Virtuoso, he lets you pay 3 energy to put a 1/1 flyer on the battlefield. Then the module will let you get an energy counter whenever a creature enters the battlefield. So the idea is you create the 1/1 using 3 energy. When the 1/1 enters, 3 triggers go on the stack that each give you an energy, which then allows you to recreate them. So essentially you are getting infinite flyers. Now, there are more cards that work with this combo, and we'll talk about those at the end, but what's really interesting is, while it is a 3-card combo, they all have a central theme of caring about artifacts and energy counters, and so because of that, this combo works really well. In the past, I've covered some combos that kind of need the whole deck to be built around it, but I could totally see a deck that's an energy artifact deck, or an energy counter artifact deck, that just happens to have this combo in it, not as maybe the main way you're going to win, but as a way you could win. So why don't we jump right into a game where you can see me pull off this combo in MTG Arena, and we can talk about it a little bit there as well. So let's go jump into that. So honestly, infinite combos are really fun because how they work is it's essentially one big stall fest. You want to be searching through your library while stalling your opponent until you win. You can be at 1 life and your opponent could be at infinite life, but if you go infinite, you can kind of just win on the spot. Now, in this game, you'll notice I am playing against Sparky just because I do want to just kind of show you how the combo works. First off, my deck list will be in the description down below if you do want to see it and maybe check it out, but generally I recommend you build the deck around it. But my deck consists of things like Glimmer of Genius, which are going to let you dig through your deck. It has Sinister Sabotage, which is both a counter spell and a surveilling card, which means that it's also going to help us dig through our deck. And then I have things like Storm's Wrath, which you can see in my hand, that kind of just let me clear the board. And you'll notice Storm's Wrath is actually a pretty good card right now, essentially wiping the board. So yeah, essentially it's one big stall game until you can get it out. Now, one nice thing is that you are in blue and red, which are probably some of the better colors for stalling, whether it be using blue counter spells or red removal or any of that. So yeah, generally it works pretty well. Now, this combo isn't always an instant win. You can get this combo off, make the infinite Thopters, and lose. For instance, if my opponent made infinite Thopters and I had my board wipe, everything is gone. So it may be a good idea to put in this deck something that cares about when creatures entering the battlefield, and somehow turning that into a win more quickly, whether it be giving your creatures haste or making it so whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you deal 1 damage to any target, something along those lines. But I find that this works pretty well. So you'll notice here, I actually only have 1 module, but because I have 2 Panharmonicons, I'll be able to get the combo off, and I get the final piece of the combo using this Drawn from Dreams. So yeah, right now I have everything in my hand. I put down the Panharmonicon, and we'll actually go out of 2 times speed here. And so now I have 3 of them. You'll notice when he enters the battlefield, actually the Panharmonicons also work with the Virtuoso, so I end up with a ton of energy from that. So I end up with 16 energy, and you will notice that whenever I create a Thopter, 3 triggers go on the stack to then refill my energy. Keep an eye on my energy. We go from 16 to 13 and then back up to 16. So essentially at this point, we have infinite Thopters. Now, if we had an additional module or an additional Panharmonicon, you would be able to generate infinite energy counters, which you may be able to do something with as well. Another thing to note is that there are lots of other cards that work with besides Panharmonicon, and what I really love about this deck is that technically all you need is the Virtuoso and 3 modules. Now, getting 3 modules is a little unlikely, but the module and the Whirler Virtuoso, by the way, are both uncommons from the same set. So that essentially means you can put this combo in a deck for 8 uncommon wild cards. The Panharmonicon is a nice addition, but it is definitely not required. Of course, it will make it way more consistent. You'll notice if I didn't have those in the deck, I I may not have been able to get the combo off here in time. But so yeah, I would say definitely Panharmonicon is a good card in the deck, especially with something like Whirler Virtuoso, who has an ETB ability, but generally it's pretty good. Now, another really interesting little interaction I have in this deck is the module can bounce creatures to your hand, which means first off, you can bounce the Virtuoso to get more energy if you're just using the 1/1s to stall. By the way, another amazing thing, I know I'm kind of rambling here. The Virtuoso creates 1/1s out of energy, which essentially means that you can stall. Like, you can just keep creating 1/1 chump blockers with him. Now, you'll notice, first off, I got enough Thopters to just murder him. And so yeah, here's the win. Overall, very, very fun. Just like I was saying, lots of redundancy. A lot of the pieces of the combo let you stall. For instance, the module lets you bounce Brazen Borrower back to your hand, which then lets you bounce more things. So just, it works really well. Every piece seems to work with other pieces of the deck, not just the combo. So yeah, I really enjoy it. Next, let's talk about some cards that also can help you go infinite. I think there are like 6 or 7, and we can go check those out. So the first one is Anointed Procession. This one will double the tokens that are created by the Virtuoso, which then lets 2 creatures enter the battlefield, so you may not need a second Panharmonicon. You'll create 4 energy instead of 2. Yark is the same as a Panharmonicon. However, be careful, it is legendary. You cannot have 2 Yarks and a module. You can only have 1 Yark, a module, and a Panharmonicon, for instance. We have a Lithoform Engine, which can copy the permanent spell of the module, so that you have 2 modules when you cast it. You can kind of copy the spell, so that's kind of interesting. We have Masterful Replication, which can turn your other artifacts, including Thopters created by the Virtuoso, into modules. So that can help you. Now, it only lasts for a turn, but it is cool. We have Mirage Mirror, which can become a copy of the artifact, again, kind of until end of turn, but you can keep doing that every single turn. So kind of just an artifact copier, which is really interesting, and it's a useful card. We have Mirror Maid, which can enter the battlefield as a copy of any enchantment or artifact, including the module. Again, similar to all these, you do need to have at least 1 module for them to work. We have Mythos of Aluna, which can copy any permanent, whether you control it or your opponent, but again, you can just copy your module if you really need to do so. It also can copy your opponent's stuff and install. We have Sculpting Steel, which can enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact, very similar to Mirror Mage, but only artifacts instead of artifacts and enchantments. So yeah, we also have Saheeli Ray, which can make a token copy of the module until end of turn. So that's pretty interesting. And similarly, the other Saheeli also can let you create copies by turning all your artifacts into a single artifact. So yeah, very interesting. Lots of creating copies, lots of turning one artifact into another. So yeah, these are all redundant pieces for Panharmonicon. So maybe you don't have 4 Panharmonicon. You may have Sculpting Steel, although that's a box topper, so you're less likely to have that than Panharmonicon. Or Mirror Maid, for instance, from Throne of Eldraine, there's a high chance you have that. And if you do, maybe you don't need the Panharmonicon, you can instead just copy it. Now, of course, I still think the Panharmonicon has a lot of synergy within the deck of, like, boosting up the Whirler Virtuoso ETB, which then lets you have enough energy to initiate the combo and create a chump blocker. But generally, those all work as fine alternatives. So that's going to do it for this video. This has been one video in a series of going infinite videos. If you guys want to check those out, I've done things on infinite mill, infinite damage, infinite life gain, infinite card draw, infinite lots of things. So you guys should go check those out. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. Again, my deck list will be in the description. If you guys have any questions, also leave those in the comments down below. I will see you in the next one.